Have you ever wondered why life feels so heavy, no matter how hard you try? Imagine this. You're gripping so tightly to your plans, your relationships, your fears, and yet, everything keeps slipping through your fingers like water. Buddhist wisdom says it's not what happens that causes our suffering. It's how desperately we try to control it. The tighter you hold, the more life resists you. Think about it. That job draining your soul, yet you can't let go. That relationship you're clinging to out of fear of being alone. That identity you're protecting so fiercely it's suffocating your spirit. But what if letting go isn't giving up? What if it's the key to true freedom? Stay with me, because today we're uncovering a quiet truth that could unchain your heart and finally bring you the peace you've been searching for. And at the end, I'll share one final reflection that might just change everything you thought you knew about life. Lesson 1. The gentle power of surrender. We live under a quiet illusion that if we just hold on tightly enough, life will obey our will. We grip our plans, our relationships, our identities with trembling hands, convinced that control will keep us safe. But in truth, it only keeps us afraid. Imagine clutching a handful of sand. The harder you squeeze, the more it escapes between your fingers, leaving nothing but clenched, empty fists. Control feels like safety, but it's the mind's most persistent deception. Because life has never been about holding on, it has always been about letting go with grace. There is an old Zen saying, "Let go or be dragged." These words aren't mere poetry, they are survival. When you cling to your expectations, your fears multiply. Fear of failure, fear of loss, fear that without your constant managing, you are somehow less worthy, less complete. Buddhist wisdom teaches non-attachment, not as indifference, but as freedom. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you allow life to breathe without suffocating it with your demands. Think about how many moments you've spent trapped in overthinking, planning conversations that never happened, trying to hold on to relationships already drifting away, replaying regrets, micromanaging tomorrow. Did it ever bring peace? Or did it tighten the knot of anxiety in your chest? Now imagine this. Tomorrow morning, instead of orchestrating your day to perfection, you wake up and simply breathe. You let the world arrive as it is. You meet each moment with calm curiosity rather than rigid control. You respond, not react. You trust, not force. Ask yourself quietly, what am I so afraid will happen if I let go today? Most of the time, it's not danger you fear, it's discomfort. And discomfort is life's gentle teacher, revealing the edges where you are meant to grow. Perhaps the job that slipped away wasn't aligned with the deeper journey of your soul. Perhaps the love that ended wasn't a failure, but a chapter closing so another could begin. Life is always speaking to you, but when you're too busy resisting, you can't hear its whisper. Because here's the truth, letting go doesn't make things fall apart. It allows them to fall into place. Not always where your mind expected, but often exactly where your spirit needs to be. Surrender is not weakness. It is the deepest kind of courage. The courage to trust the river's flow rather than swim against its current. To let life carry you where force never could. So today, practice this simple act. When you feel your mind tightening, pause. Breathe deeply into your chest. Ask yourself, is this worth the weight I am carrying? Then soften your grip. Allow trust to enter the space where fear once lived. Watch how life begins to unfold its quiet miracles when you no longer command every second. A monk once shared, "Peace does not mean to be in a place without chaos or pain. It means to be in the midst of those things and remain calm in your heart." That calmness is never born from control. It rises from surrender. What if letting go is how you finally find the peace you seek? What if the version of yourself you're fighting to become is smaller than the one that emerges when you trust life's unfolding? What if surrender is the most powerful move you'll ever make? Because if you wish to soar high, you must release what anchors you to the ground. If you wish to walk forward freely, you must leave behind the chains of yesterday. Release your grip. Let life meet you where you are. And watch, with quiet wonder, as everything finds its place. Lesson 2. The quiet power of letting go. There is a paradox woven into the heart of life. The tighter you hold on, the less you truly have. We live in a world that glorifies attachment to goals, to outcomes, to identities built on numbers and validation. But what if the very thing you're clinging to is what keeps you grounded, unable to soar? Imagine a kite. It doesn't rise higher because you pull harder on its string. It rises when you give it space to dance with the wind. This is the silent wisdom of detachment. Buddhist teachings remind us that attachment is the root of suffering. Not because desire is wrong, but because craving something to define who you are becomes a prison. Detachment is not giving up. It is showing up with your whole being, clear, calm, and unafraid of what comes next. Think of the times you poured your energy into forcing life's outcomes. You stayed awake at night, looping conversations in your mind, calculating every possibility, trying desperately to bend reality to your will. Did it bring you peace? Or did it weigh you down with exhaustion and quiet despair? True power doesn't arise from force. It arises from presence, from the courage to loosen your grip and allow life to unfold as it is meant to. Letting go is not about caring less. It is about releasing the fear that makes your love conditional. Ask yourself, am I living from desperation or from clarity? From fear or from truth? When you shift from, will this work, to, is this right for me? Everything changes. Because now you are no longer reacting out of fear of losing, but responding out of alignment with your deepest self. Practice this today. Set your intentions with honesty, but release the outcome. Speak with sincerity, not hidden agendas. Show up to your work, your relationships, your dreams, not with a clenched heart demanding guarantees, but with open hands willing to receive what life offers. Meditate on impermanence. Watch your thoughts, like birds flying across a quiet sky, arriving, passing, leaving no trace. Understand that nothing lasts forever, not joy, not pain. In this truth, you will find freedom. Ask yourself softly, am I pushing too hard for what should unfold naturally? So often, what we force breaks apart. What we nurture with trust and patience blossoms. The seed doesn't bloom because you demand its growth. It blooms because you give it space, water, light, and time. Detachment is not apathy. It is the deepest kind of power, a power rooted in authenticity, not anxiety, in presence, not fear. Because the truth is, the more you cling, the more you chase life away. The moment you loosen your hold, life begins to lift you in ways you could never imagine. So loosen the string. Let your kite rise freely into the sky. Let go of what you are forcing. Let life carry you beyond where your limited grip could ever reach. Lesson 3. The stillness beyond overthinking. We often confuse thinking with progress. We believe that if we just think a little harder, analyze a little deeper, and spin the problem around a few more times, clarity will appear. But in truth, overthinking is like stirring muddy water. The more you stir, the cloudier it becomes. Buddhist wisdom calls this the monkey mind, thoughts that jump from branch to branch, restless and never silent. Overthinking wears the mask of wisdom, but it is born from fear. Fear of making the wrong choice, fear of discomfort, fear of facing what lies beyond our logic. Think about this. When have your deepest insights arrived? Was it in the middle of anxious analysis? Or in those quiet moments when your mind finally softened? In the shower, while walking beneath silent trees? Or as you drifted into sleep? Clarity doesn't come from force. It rises when the mind becomes still enough to hear its own truth. But stillness feels threatening in a world addicted to noise. We measure our worth by our busyness, so silence feels like failure. We chase peace by thinking our way to it, but peace isn't something you achieve through effort. Peace is what remains when effort ends. Imagine a pond after a storm. The water is murky and agitated. No matter how desperately you peer into it, you see nothing but distortion. But when the wind calms and the ripples fade, the pond becomes a mirror, revealing everything beneath its surface. So it is with your mind. When your thoughts begin to spiral, pause. Don't dive deeper. Interrupt the pattern with breath. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply, feeling life enter you. Exhale slowly, releasing the stories swirling in your mind. One conscious breath can do more to clear your path than 100 anxious thoughts. Ask yourself quietly, am I truly thinking, or am I avoiding? Because often, thinking becomes a shield, protecting us from feeling what scares us, from making a choice, from facing the unknown. Life doesn't move because you think about it. Life moves when you act. Even the smallest step forward will break the prison of analysis paralysis. Remember, clarity loves decisiveness. Listen to your intuition. That quiet knowing you often ignore because it lacks logic. That soft voice is wisdom. Overthinking shouts over it, drowning it in noise. But when you become still, you hear its whispers guiding you home. Try this practice. When you catch yourself lost in endless thought loops, stop. Feel the discomfort in your body. Let it be there. Don't argue with it. Don't fix it. Just breathe through it, like watching waves rise and fall upon the shore. The moment you stop resisting the present moment, it begins to reveal its hidden gifts. Ask yourself honestly, are these thoughts helping me, or are they holding me hostage? Your mind is a tool, a servant, not your master. Tools are powerful only when you know when to use them and when to lay them down. So let the muddy pond of your thoughts settle. Let silence rise within you, and you may discover that everything you've been chasing has been waiting beneath the noise all along. Because peace isn't something to be found out there. It is what remains when you stop stirring the waters of your mind and allow yourself to simply be. Lesson 4. The hidden weight of caring too much. There is a silent danger in caring without wisdom. Sometimes we care so deeply that we suffocate what we love. We wrap our dreams so tightly in perfection that they cannot breathe. We hold our relationships under the weight of expectations until they begin to crumble. And we crush our own spirit with the relentless pressure to hold everything together. It feels noble to care this much. But often, beneath this devotion lies fear. Fear of losing control, fear of not being good enough, fear that love will vanish unless we prove our worth again and again. But love, like a candle's flame, needs space to breathe, or it will flicker out in the suffocating grasp of our desperation. Buddhist wisdom teaches that true compassion is not about control, it is about presence. It is the quiet strength to sit with someone in their pain without trying to fix it. It is the courage to witness your own struggle without demanding perfection. Caring deeply doesn't mean clinging desperately. It means allowing what you love to be free. Ask yourself honestly, am I carrying burdens that were never mine to hold? Perhaps you say yes when your heart is exhausted. You try to manage the emotions of others, to solve problems that are not yours to fix. You believe this is compassion, but it is over-responsibility, born from a restless ego that wants to be needed to feel worthy. And instead of creating connection, it creates burnout. Imagine a tree nurturing its leaves. It does not grip them in fear. It provides nourishment through its roots and allows them to grow, to flutter, to fall when the season ends. This is real love, a love that gives space to become. When you tie your worth to being understood, appreciated, or needed, your care becomes conditional. You begin to live with anxious attachment, constantly checking if you're loved, replaying conversations, analyzing every small silence, afraid of being forgotten. But this is not intuition. This is insecurity wearing the mask of devotion. Ask yourself softly, what if I stop trying to manage everything? What if you trusted that people are strong enough to walk their own journeys, even if they stumble? That situations can resolve without your constant intervention? That love can exist without your endless proving? You would become lighter, freer. Your relationships would deepen, not from control, but from trust. Because when you stop trying so hard to be everything for everyone, you finally become something real, yourself. Real care is not about grasping, it is about allowing, to sit with someone without offering solutions, to listen without judgment, to love without needing to be needed, and to rest without guilt, knowing that your worth does not depend on your usefulness. So today, loosen your grip, let life breathe, let your soul breathe. Love does not require you to be perfect. Peace does not demand you to fix everything. You are allowed to care without controlling, to give without losing yourself. Because when you care with presence instead of pressure, you discover a quiet truth. Everything, your peace, your clarity, your connections, begins to fall gently into place, exactly where they were always meant to be. Lesson 5. The freedom beyond validation. You were not born to be applauded. You were born to be real. Yet somewhere along the winding path of life, the silent need for approval took root. Praise became your oxygen. Likes, compliments, nods of agreement, they began to feel like proof that you are enough. But here is a quiet truth. The mountain does not need the forest to approve its height. It simply stands, rooted in its own strength, unshaken by passing opinions. Seeking validation is a subtle hunger. It hides behind ambition, diligence, and service. But if your sense of worth crumbles under a single disapproving glance, then what you are feeding is not your soul, but your insecurities. When you live for applause, you become an actor in your own story. Every move is shadowed by the question, was that enough? Do they like me now? But validation is a fickle friend. It shifts with people's moods, their projections, their unspoken stories. How can you build a life of peace upon such ever-shifting sands? Buddhist wisdom teaches that freedom does not arise from being liked, it arises from being true. When you let go of needing others to approve of you, a quiet miracle unfolds. You begin to hear your own voice again. You start to act from alignment rather than performance. You live not for recognition, but from truth. Ask yourself today, who am I when no one is watching? If there were no claps, no praise, no audience, would I still speak these words, create this art, live this way? You are enough even when the world is silent. Your value does not depend on applause. It never did. That is the great shift. Because when you no longer outsource your worth to others, fear dissolves. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of being invisible. In that fearless space, creativity begins to flow. Courage rises like the dawn. Purpose returns with quiet certainty. Try this today. Validate yourself, not with ego, but with gentle truth. Name 3 ways you showed up authentically. Perhaps you spoke your truth despite trembling lips. Perhaps you set a boundary with kindness. Perhaps you rested without guilt. Let these moments anchor your worth. The next time someone praises or criticizes you, observe it with calm detachment. Let it pass through you like a breeze through the trees. Praise and criticism are merely weather patterns. They do not change the mountain. They do not define your essence. Seek solitude, not as loneliness, but as sacred space. In that stillness, where no voices echo but your own, you will find yourself again. Not the self shaped by others' expectations, but the one who has always been quietly powerful. So ask yourself with honesty, am I living for applause or am I living for alignment? Because if you live for applause, you will always feel behind. But if you live in alignment, even your silence will resonate with truth. When you release the craving to be seen, you finally see yourself, not as a performer, but as the mountain you have always been, unshakable, deeply rooted, and completely enough. Lesson 6. The power of whatever happens, happens. There is a quiet strength hidden in those who can whisper, "Whatever happens, happens." Not from a place of apathy, but from a deep, unshakable wisdom that knows peace is never born from control. The more you struggle to bend life to your will, the more tangled your mind becomes. We spend so much energy trying to fix every detail, manage every outcome, force every dream into our precise image of how it should unfold. And yet, life remains beautifully, maddeningly unpredictable. Buddhist wisdom teaches that true peace isn't about arranging your circumstances perfectly. It is about anchoring yourself so deeply in presence that no storm can uproot you. Imagine the mountain. Winds howl against its cliffs, rains lash at its peaks, clouds cover its summit. Yet it remains, unmoved, silent, powerful. This is the heart of the whatever mindset. It is not giving up. It is standing rooted in the truth that life will change, people will shift, plans will dissolve, and you will remain. Ask yourself, what if peace isn't about making life smooth, but about standing calm when it isn't? When someone criticizes you, pause. Instead of reacting, observe the rise of defensiveness. Ask gently, does this require my response or just my awareness? When plans collapse, breathe. Whisper to yourself, this does not define me. Because the truth is, your worth is not tied to the smoothness of your journey. It is revealed in how calmly you carry yourself through its unexpected turns. Try using humor as a spiritual balm. When life throws small chaos your way, smile softly and ask yourself, will this matter 5 years from now? If not, let it go in 5 minutes. Often, peace is not found in answers, but in releasing the need for them. This, whatever happens, happens mindset isn't passivity. It is spiritual confidence. It is knowing that you are strong enough to meet life as it arrives, not just when it pleases you. Imagine flowing like a river. Rocks do not stop the river. It moves around them, over them, reshaping them with quiet persistence. So it is with life. The more you resist, the more you suffer. The more you flow, the more you find your way forward with grace. So next time life spins sideways, pause. Take a slow breath. Remind yourself softly, whatever happens, happens. I remain. Because this is not weakness, it is mastery. It is the art of letting go, not to lose control, but to allow life to meet you where you truly are. And in that gentle surrender, everything you seek, peace, clarity, strength, falls into place exactly as it is meant to. Lesson 7. You are not your thoughts. Most people live their entire lives trapped within invisible walls. Walls built not from stone or steel, but from their own thoughts. They believe every voice in their mind is truth, every judgment, every fear, every story of inadequacy. But there is a gentle truth hidden within Buddhist wisdom. You are not your thoughts. Imagine the vast sky. Clouds drift across it, dark storm clouds, golden sunrise clouds, fleeting wisps of silver. Yet the sky remains untouched. It holds the storms and the sunlight equally, without ever losing itself. You are that sky. Thoughts are merely passing weather. When you begin to observe your thoughts rather than obey them, everything changes. Reflect on your own life. How often has a single thought ruined your entire day? One harsh comment, one fear-driven story. Suddenly your peace is gone, hijacked by illusions of the mind. But what if these thoughts are simply old habits echoing from the past, not truths of your present reality? Thoughts arise automatically. This is not your fault, but believing them without question is where suffering begins. You are not the voice whispering, "I'm not enough." You are the awareness hearing that voice, and in that awareness lies your freedom. Try this practice. When your mind begins to spiral, pause, close your eyes. Watch your thoughts like a silent observer watching the river flow by. Gently remind yourself, these are just thoughts. Return to your breath. Feel your body rooted in the present moment. Feel the stillness beneath the noise. Ask yourself softly, Is this thought helping me, or is it simply a habit of fear? Most thoughts are recycled patterns, echoes of old conditioning, fears inherited from the past, worries projected onto the future. They are not insight. They are noise, and they do not deserve your obedience. When you let go of trying to control every thought, something within you relaxes. The mind becomes less of a prison and more of a landscape you can walk through with gentle curiosity. You stop treating your thoughts like laws to follow and begin treating them like weather to observe. Buddhist wisdom does not teach us to destroy the mind, but to understand it, to witness its movements like you would watch the dance of leaves in the wind, knowing that none of it defines the tree. So today, ask yourself, what thoughts have I mistaken for truth? And then go deeper. Am I the thinker or the awareness behind these thoughts? Because you are the sky, vast, silent, limitless. No storm can stain its essence. And the moment you realize you are not your thoughts, you reclaim a freedom that was always yours. Let the clouds come and go. Let the mind speak and fall silent. Remain as the sky, still, open, untouched. Because when you stop fighting your thoughts and simply watch them pass, you will discover the peace that has been waiting beneath the storm all along. Lesson 8. Surrender, the secret strength. There comes a moment on every journey when true strength is revealed, not by how hard you push, but by how softly you release. We spend so much of life gripping tightly to people, plans, identities, believing that if we just hold on a little longer, everything will be okay. But what if real power lies in letting go? Imagine a small boat fighting against a fierce river current. Its oars cut through the water with desperate force, yet it remains stuck or gets pulled under. But the moment it stops resisting, the river carries it effortlessly downstream. This is surrender. Not giving up, but giving in to the deeper flow of life. Most people live in constant resistance. We force outcomes, cling to what is fading, and wrestle with reality, calling it ambition or strength. But beneath it all is fear. Fear of losing control, fear of being seen as weak, fear of drifting into the unknown. Buddhist wisdom reveals a quiet truth. Control is an illusion, and resistance is suffering. Surrender does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop suffering over what isn't yours to control. You act from clarity, not chaos. You move with life, not against it. You trust the river to carry you exactly where you need to go. Ask yourself today, where am I forcing something that no longer flows? Perhaps it's a relationship that has become heavy, a job that no longer aligns with your soul, a dream that has transformed, yet you cling to its old shape. Are you rowing in circles out of fear of drifting, or are you ready to trust the current? Try this simple practice. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and say softly to yourself, I don't know, and that's okay. Feel the freedom in that phrase. Feel the space it creates within you. Life rarely asks you to have all the answers. It only asks you to take the next true step without gripping so tightly. Reflect on your life. The most powerful moments often did not come from perfect planning. They arrived when you surrendered, when you whispered, I can't force this anymore. And suddenly the path unfolded, clarity dawned, and the right opportunity appeared. This is not coincidence. This is clarity rising from stillness. When you stop struggling, life begins to speak. In Buddhism, surrender is not passive. It is active trust. Trust in impermanence. Trust in the wisdom of now. Trust that life is not a force to conquer, but a flow to align with. Even the Buddha taught, clinging is the root of suffering. Letting go is not failure. It is freedom. It is the doorway to true peace. Ask yourself honestly, what am I still fighting that no longer serves me? Is it an outdated version of who you thought you should be? An outcome you cling to with desperation? An identity shaped by fear rather than truth? Maybe, just maybe, surrender is not the end, but the bridge to your next becoming. Because the moment you stop demanding life to be something else, you begin to live in the truth of what it already is. And there, in that space of acceptance, all the magic unfolds. Let go of the outcome. Anchor yourself in authentic action. Do your part, then release the rest to life. This is not laziness, it is alignment. This is not apathy, it is inner peace. Ask yourself softly, how much peace could I gain by surrendering this fight? Because when you finally let go, you realize the truth Buddhist masters have whispered for centuries. Everything falls into place when you stop trying to force it. Conclusion. So today, let this be your reminder. You don't need to force life to love you. You don't need to grip so tightly to be safe. You don't need to control every outcome to find peace. Real power is quiet. It lives in surrender. Real wisdom is gentle. It lives in letting go. The Buddha taught that freedom is not found in gaining more, but in releasing what was never truly yours. When you loosen your grip, life flows. When you let go of the outcomes, your true path unfolds. And when you finally surrender, you realize you were never lost. You were only holding on to what needed to be set free. If this video spoke to your soul, share it with someone who needs this gentle reminder today. And before you go, make sure to subscribe for more Buddhist wisdom and reflections to guide your journey back to peace and purpose. Remember to like, because each like tells YouTube this message matters. And comment below, what are you choosing to let go of today? Your words might inspire someone else to set themselves free. Until next time, stay rooted, stay open, and keep walking this quiet path of freedom.